Hi, Gemini. Welcome back. We're here to do your star sign for the month of July. Yes, we are going to look at the 5 top things that are happening and really working it out to see where this hits you individually and then into your romance, career, wealth, wellness, and more. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the big 5 things that are happening. I may make reference to some of last month's energy because it is going to directly impact this month. Now, the first point of call is we do have the full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd of July. We then move into a new moon in Cancer on the 17th of July. Venus last month moved into Leo. It is going to go retrograde. We will find it is moving into shadow. For some of us, we could feel it from the beginning of the month. So crosswise, misunderstandings in love, reworking, re-looking at situations, and also blast from the past, retrograding on the 23rd of July. And North Node currently is sitting in the house of Taurus, the South Node in the house of Scorpio. That will be transitioning on the 12th into another house and will bring the key themes for the next 18 months for all zodiac signs. This also can be a time with those previous nodes that we are wrapping up things. And we may find in the South Node, especially because we had an eclipse and we have Pluto that did move back into Capricorn, that both the moon in Capricorn and the nodes, we can have some sudden changes really coming about very quickly and start making bold decisions separately because the nodes are moving into Aries. It is very personal. It's the first house placement collectively. It will link to your zodiac sign very separately, and I will go into how to navigate that and to be prepared for the next 18 months. I also do host blogs on the website. All information is directly below. If you want to, more in a luxury term, get your updates, know where these things are landing, and be prepared for such. Chiron also is going to go retrograde and it's in Aries. So those two will work in tangent, but we may feel a little bit out of our depth as the nodes move, and we may be guided to pause before reacting. The South Node will move to Libra, and again, for you, I will break it down. Now, the one thing I can say is last month we had Pluto in the house of Aquarius. It moved on the 11th back into Capricorn. So we do have that there till the end of the year, and it will transition back again into Aquarius. The other thing I can say is both Saturn and Neptune moved retrograde. So for you, Saturn is linking to your 10th house. This can be your career, your purpose, where you're going, some of the pressures, some of the revelations you've had, you might have paused. Sometimes it can feel a little bit like a crisis, but as it retrogrades, to really get onto your mission of what you want to do, be it it's a physical career or a path in your life where you're at, during its retrograde, some ease can come, but there also could have been tension there. I also tend to find with Neptune going retrograde, it's very realistic. Many times what I have found in a benefit of Neptune going retrograde is I felt very silly that a solution was directly under my nose and really took a very realistic look at that area in my chart it was hitting. For you, again, it can link to your career. But it also can link to emotionally, okay, what's your purpose? What are you doing? What are you doing in your bliss, your spirituality? What are your revelations and beliefs in self? And maybe even your goals, okay, depending on the age bracket you are and where you are in life. Let's have a look at the full moon. Within this update, we're going to cover the moon. We're going to cover the 2 moons, Venus, Mars, the North Node and Chiron, where they hit, and straight into your romance house as an overview to be prepared. If you do keep this, you can refer back to it to aid you with navigating through this month and really have a deeper comprehension of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Number 1 is full moons can be very intense. This is Capricorn. Currently, Pluto is in Capricorn, and Pluto is dark. You know, it's dark. It's the underrealm. It's what's working, what's not. The hard situation will be the fact that Pluto is at the critical degree point. You know, it's done its full rotation. Well, it's doing its full rotation. It's reached its peak point. So intensity can be there more so than usual. I would say really entering into this month, point blank zero, we will be feeling that even before we have got to the moon. I would say also be very patient with yourself during that time because intensity can be strong. We can be very traditional as well. And I really do psychically pick that A lot of us are going to be looking over our lineage, our conditioning, the way we view the world, our belief systems. That can be also because Venus is going retrograde and because we have quite an old energy here in the mix. With Pluto having its whole cycle will be around 20 years sitting in that location. So we had a little bit of a break as it moved into Aquarius, but now it's back with full form and we're revisiting these things. So something is coming to a head, something's coming to an end. We tend to look at moon, theoretically, home, family, children, our feelings, our emotions, and ending in a particular location in our lives. And for you, this does link to your 8th house. This can be paying a debt off. This can be a change in the way you use your resources. It also can be a change in your partner's income. If there were situations going on, suddenly it could have a breakthrough and a new beginning. But there is a wrap up here. If a person had transcended over, this could be to do with a legacy or an inheritance. And again, it could be paying debts off and it could be finding a new stream of income that you can directly depend on. So there definitely is going to be changes in that domain. This also can bring about secrets during this time that can be quite emotional. And we also can do some shadow work. And those of you that aren't so privy on the, spiritual kind of terminology, it can be a very deep, muddy water feeling that you can get. So it can be flashbacks, it could be memories. You could be looking at, your role in your family, what requirements people were needing on you. And you're definitely going to be a more experienced individual with this position really hitting in the chart. So, give it a few days either side. I would definitely ground yourself this month. This is one of those months that we do have interesting shifts, A, because the nodes are moving, B, because Pluto is in Capricorn and we're having a moon there, and also because of the fact that Venus is going retrograde. So trying to be patient, tension can be there. We have some heavy hitting Mars placements, and definitely around the 12th also, give yourself some space and don't make any sudden moves. Try to be patient. Now, during the new moon, again, I do feel there can be emotions running high. And this is because the shadow sign of Capricorn is Cancer. This can be a brand new chapter coming in. You may see over the next 6 months big changes in both domains, both the axis of the moon in Capricorn in your life, networking, other people's money. Could it be lotteries? It could. Paying off debt, your partner's income, legacies, inheritances, changes, right? Same thing with the new moon over the next 6 months, where you will wrap a cycle up. So you're going to be working in this area. This for you connects to your income area. So it can be land, material value, assets, income, professional resources. You may generate and attract new situations into your life in this domain. You also may want to invest. This could be where you get investments with land and property matters. So those subjects to a degree can come up. This also can come down to eating. So it could be, going on a health kick, getting to a point where articulating how we feel and expressing our emotions more effectively. Again, I would still give this a few days for this moon to land. I would definitely drink more fluid. This could be a beautiful time to beautify the home. Some of you could be maybe refinancing, adding value to the home and doing cleanups, so to speak. Now, as to Venus going retrograde, how to best navigate it. Number one is it will be in its shadow as we enter the month. It is in the house of Leo. It is going retrograde as of the 23rd of July, 2023, and it will go direct, shadow direct from the 4th of September. Now, through that shadow direct, it will remain in the house of Leo until the 8th of October. So we could call it a long transit, but when you look at Pluto being 20 years in the house of Capricorn, it's quite short. Can it bring up tedious situations? I call Venus retrograde restructuring, reevaluating. I directly feel in no systematic order, we get the good, the bad, and the ugly. We can be very nostalgic with rose-colored glasses. We then can get into the hot or not, and then it's no. Okay, this is yes, this is no, and it's very matter of fact. It's almost acceptance, sheer acceptance. So for an individual that is a feminine, this can be our values, our beliefs. Again, it will link to friendships, romance, money, our value systems, our belief systems, children, because it is Leo. For you, this does connect to your third house. But again, it will still affect your romance house. So the style of communicating, how we socialize, how we interact with one another, how the person shows up, what you do. This could be a contract you're signing. I would say going into this, if you are needing to do any signing, I would probably do such early on in the month prior to it moving retrograde. The shadow isn't a great time, but it's probably the safest. As it goes direct, that would be the best time to make any sudden decisions or more permanent decisions, be it it's based on a physical relationship or it is based on a contract or a friendship and values, buying and investing in large things, for instance. Pardon me. The other thing, this could be cars. You may find during this time you're looking at a car, you're looking at, this could be technology for a business or social endeavors, the people you speak with, misunderstandings, they can clear up. Okay. So I can say people that you had grievances with, they can come back, can be a time to rework it and see if it's kind of solvable, be it it's a love interest or other or a contract. And as it goes direct, you'll really be looking at the situation totally differently. Now, on the opposite spectrum of things, if you already had gone through a separation, it can be an element of paperwork. There can be some psychological healing that you go through this, but it can be so many things. As I've covered above, I will go deeper into your romance and give you some context also for this month, what I see coming through for your zodiac sign. What other tips can I say? If you're going to do anything cosmetic, I would probably pause till it goes direct. If you are doing more permanent hair colors, permanent haircuts, hacking your hair off, throwing your clothing out, buying a brand new wardrobe, again, I would go into experimentation. I wouldn't do anything permanent because it's almost like, because we do get the good, the bad, and the ugly, by the time it goes direct, your opinion of beauty, of styles, of hair colors and cuts and all of those things, it's going to change. So you more than likely won't be happy with the outcome after that fact. Now, let's have a look at, can you mix with people? Can you mix with people from the past? Yes, you can. It is a good time to rework those things. Then we have Mars sitting in the house of Leo until the 10th. This also can bring about heightened energy in communication. I will be careful in communication, okay? You can be doing a lot of trips. I wouldn't rush while driving. You're going to be maybe more physical. You could also be more assertive. Now, there's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. So just be aware of that. Virgo also, as it transitions into the house of Virgo on the 10th, the way this can play out is that there can be a lot of busyness around home. Be cautious around crossness with your family, but there also could be some activity really, really quite physically on the home zone. North Node in Aries for you will link to your 11th house. You can be taking on a deeper responsibility, a big role, a project, management positions, wealth creation, joining clubs. The South Node is where we're comfortable. It can be changing, and for you, over the next 18 months, it will directly transform. So at the moment where it stands, it needs evolution. The section of Aries will help you develop that. And for you, yes, it is a Venus sign. So yes, this can come down to your style of romance. So in order to transform this, it can be, adding people into the mix. This is new friendship groups, socialization, leadership. This can be subjects to do with goals that you're actually moving towards. It could be building a house, whatever that be, it's the 11th house. Okay, so this can be quite large. You may have more responsibilities on your plate, big dreams, social endeavors, joining clubs, and your relationship to both romance and children directly are going to evolve over the next 18 months. Now, Chiron in Aries is going to help this. We can feel a bit anxious from the date of the nodes shifting in the 12th through till Chiron in Aries going retrograde on the 23rd. This can help us review where we maybe are getting things wrong or triggered or feeling out of our depth. Venus for you. So big changes. I would say particularly a lot of you are going to feel as though there are these changes in these areas. And I feel you're going to relate to it differently. Confidence also is going to be the key. And I do particularly feel you could be really looking at your own personal life with very separate situations going on. This could be the give and take, it could be how you relate to each other. And I do particularly feel there is an opportunity for very in-depth conversations. I would recommend with triggers to really take a moment for reacting. Mars is in two locations of both assertiveness and direction. Some of us, I do particularly feel, and I had really felt this, really looking at the future of our North Node shifting into Aries with every aspect of astrology and, using the psychic energy. What I can say is we always have a higher octave and a lower. So there's the good side and there's the lower side. On the higher, it can help us become more assertive. We can be entrepreneurs. On the lower, we can be very aggressive and self-centered, and that's at a collective level. So being aware of that will help you directly have that awareness when we are going into reactivity. Romance, this is a time where we are going to be restructuring and reworking, looking at what our goals are in joint connections, having old situations and joint connections coming back up again to be reviewed. And even those of you that are single, this can be a huge time where we are re-looking at these things and going, okay, are we on the same page? The way we interact and communicate and the things that we directly do, making time for romance, being open to it, definitely feel communication coming through in social media for you as well. There is an opportunity here for things to be tidied up, reevaluated. Can Venus retrograde bring about divorces or breakups? Yes, they can. Only if well and truly a situation has really moved beyond repair, okay? The other thing I can say is there is an opportunity for romance to change. And I think that, I try and go very easy and not personalize things from, I would say the key dates for you at this point in the month would be, I would say from the full moon, I would be cautious because you can have insecurities. I would then say between the 11th and the 14th because the nodes are shifting. And really having that confidence, really thinking about how you're feeling and honoring that. Journaling can be a good thing, getting grounded, but I do feel this can actually turn out quite positive. And if you navigate it effectively, it's not that we can lie to ourselves, but we can be aware of the weather theoretically in order to navigate a relationship better. Now, the other thing I directly see is the fact that blasts from the past can come back. This is a really beautiful time to reconnect, communicate, touch base. New friendship groups are coming in. There can be some element of jealousy, and I do feel you're going to be quite independent. You're going to need to have an element of autonomy. And some of you can be sort of in this bit of conundrum at the moment where you physically do want a relationship, especially for those of you that are single, but you also want to have this fun vibration, this play vibration, and there could be a clash in that section at this point in time. But really, anyone who's going to directly accept you are going to know that that is sort of an innate need for you spiritually. Now, your career is going to be a lot of hustle and bustle, and you really do have lady luck, especially moving over the next 18 months. It doesn't mean to say because the stars are there that automatically it's just going to fall into your lap. This does mean work. Jupiter at the moment transitioning through your 12th house can be dreams that you're working on. You could be working in metaphysical, you could be working in psychology. Separately, the other thing I can say is whatever you are doing for a career, believing in yourself is going to be absolute key with your 12th house. These can be, especially if you were on the fence, I do feel Jupiter is going to give you a lot of ideas. These can be creative ideas, subjects to do with money. And you are going to attract this in, but you do need to also be careful of dealing with your stress levels to manage the career sector. In your 10th house of career, Saturn and Pluto are retrograde at the moment. So restructuring, reviewing, Venus being retrograde. There can be subjects to do with contracts. If you were transitioning or starting something new, I would directly get those things signed first, ASAP, well and truly prior to the 23rd. After that, the next portal where it will be more, you'll be more clear about what you're getting into theoretically from, I would say, from a wealth point of view and from a spec of, okay, what am I actually going into? What are my roles within this position? That's going to become more clear as of, I would say, it going direct. So that's about the 4th of September, right? But in a perfect world, that is so. In a non-perfect world, we have to do what we have to do. Just be aware there could be some changes of mind after the fact. If you are running a business, this can be a time where people do leave. Know that sometimes it's about moving the dead wood out so we can have some fresh new beginnings, restructuring, and know that it does inevitably end up being for the best. And again, people can change their minds, again, because of Venus retrograde. Another thing I would say is with the retrogrades in this area, this can be it in your physical career or your business, however that plays out. Again, during the retrograde of Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, you're going to be able to get back on top of things. There's going to be a little bit more ease, maybe meditation, reflection, solutions, ideas. If you really hate your job, the retrogrades can help you maybe sit with it, accept it, and decide to react on it. Now, wealth, as mentioned, you do have lady luck, but, creatively, you are going to have to manage your stress levels. I do feel, particularly from a Venus point of view, in the house of Leo, there can be some expenses for car. You also can be reviewing your contracts, and it's probably a great time to really go over your budgets, having a look at your bank statements, making sure wages are going in on time. It isn't a Mercury retrograde, but it is a Venus sign. So there can be delays, but it's more so cross wires. It can be delays in them coming through, but more so I would say as it's going shadow direct. The other thing I would mention is that while you are restructuring, things changing surrounding your career, it might have been that you were renegotiating the terms of wealth. You do have lady luck in wealth at the moment, and there could be some potential pay rises for a lot of you. I also feel those of you that are wanting to do any large projects, maybe getting loans, this also with the North Node moving is very, very possible. You do overall over the next 18 months have windows for such. And I also feel there could be some huge splurges really when it comes to that Venusian energy. I do particularly feel some of you could be spending money on renovations and beautifying, but try and understand that some of that can change between now. I would do a tidy up, I'd do repairs, I'd maybe test out some styles, go into the neutrals if possible, so that if you wanted to change that up and that wasn't something that you really wanted to sit with from a color palette point of view, you could directly change pillow slips out, etc. So I would do the experimentation over permanency at this point. Even though you do have transits happening in your home zone for beautifying, you may later look at it and go, gee, I wish I really didn't do that. Wellness. I would particularly say there can be some changes, especially surrounding cycles, especially for feminines with Venus retrograde. The other thing I would say is we can have some situations really transforming inside of food and nutrition. Your zodiac with the new moon, you may be really tapping into your emotions. I would be careful with pacifiers this month. I also feel there is a possibility when stressed. Have you ever noticed you stub your toe and you say to yourself, gee, I've got to keep an eye on that. I can't do that. I'm going to hit it again. And you continue to hit it again. So sometimes it kind of reattracts in the same drama. You're going to have to be quite determined to keep your nerves down. Caffeine also can affect you because you have Jupiter in Taurus in your 12th house. So this can be drinks, substances, what else? Caffeine. You're going to find that your nervous energy is probably going to be more so. It does benefit you because you psychically can attract positive things. You can have really creative ideas. You also could get some inheritances from money and things to that degree. Not that that's a positive octave, but It's a possibility. Separately, we can become more susceptible to vibration. So it's about getting into a good balanced, maybe having a slight workout, having time to unwind, having time to rest, having techniques you use to calm your energy and unwind each day. And then your nerves directly can deal with what you have to address in your week to week activities. Chiron and Aries moving retrograde also can bring a friendship from the past back, to heal, but it also can be bringing people into your life. I also feel this can be a time, if you are joining a gym, try to not, if it's coming in by mid-month, what I would recommend is making sure you're doing stretches. I also feel, regardless of whether you're a female or a male, protecting your safety. Venus retrograde can be one of those interesting times where we do get some lower octave situations going on, which could be abductions and things to that degree. So being aware, being, self-aware, safety conscious, closing your doors, securing your values, looking after your kids, and, being aware of that is already 10 steps forward. So that is one thing I will say. The other situation I will say is, really unwinding from work. I feel unwinding from work is going to be key for you. And tension around family mid-month, okay? So just, keep it cool. Try, this could be where you actually understand something at a deeper level. This also could be that you could be a little bit critical jumping into it, but you also could be extremely physical around the home zone and doing something of a fun activity with family members that is quite physical. This could be renovating or other. Protect your safety, get some rest. Hopefully the tips guide you through your wellness sector. I do feel overall with the nodes shifting into Aries, there can be some intensity. Watch out for those moons. Be aware of how to navigate the Venus retrograde, and I will check in with you next month. If you want moral support, you have two options. Three actually. You can listen to the next updates that come in. You can come and join us via YouTube. We do have the members, and I'm supporting us through Mind, Body, Soul updates within our membership hub at the top level. Separately, you can go to our website. All information is directly below for a coaching session or a booking, and I can look directly at your chart or assist you psychically. Take care, and I'll see you next week.